Okay. Okay. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wal-mursaleen. سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. MashaAllah, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, I would like to welcome you to our second part for our Zakah workshop. As you know, we've started it yesterday, and today is our second part, inshallah ta'ala. And Jazakumullah khairan for your patience. And inshallah ta'ala, we will be beginning from where we have stopped at yesterday. But inshallah ta'ala, we'll begin with some questions. And just to see how much you are able to remember regarding what we've talked about yesterday. Okay, yesterday we have talked about a number of things. Among them was the definition of zakah. What is zakah? We've talked about the objectives of zakah. We've talked about the conditions. For example, if someone has to give zakah, what are the conditions that they have to fulfill? We've talked about what kind of wealth is considered to be zakatable wealth, and what kind of wealth is not going to be considered as zakatable wealth. And also, we have got to how to calculate your zakah, but we haven't really done anything about it. Inshallah ta'ala, today we will practically do it bi'idhnillah. So, but before we go to this session for today, let me ask you some questions. Can someone remind us, zakah, what does it mean linguistically? What the word zakah? It has a number of meanings. One of them, if you can give it to me, inshallah ta'ala. I have, mashallah, the hand of Mohamed Aziz raised, and also have the hand of our young, mashallah, student Ammar. Also, his hand is raised. Give me one of the meanings of zakah linguistically. Mashallah, to grow. Mashallah, it means about growth. Mashallah. Also, yesterday I gave you a technical meaning of zakah. Another meaning, mashallah, another linguistic meaning of zakah was purification. I want to know now the technical meaning, the sharia meaning of zakah. I said, it's this. Okay, mashallah. And Brother Ismail. Very good. So it was all about the word particular. Particular type of wealth. Okay, taken from a particular type of wealth, taken from that wealth in a particular way, and then given it to a particular group of people. So it was all about particular. Very good, excellent, nice. We've mentioned the objectives, no problem. We don't have to go through the objectives. I want to ask you now, how many types of zakatable wealth do we have? Yesterday I gave you, okay, 6 and 4. اختلف العلماء. Okay, we have 6 and 4, and both of you are right. MashaAllah, both of you are right. So give me one type. I want one type. Bana, give me one type of wealth which is zakatable. You need to give zakah. For camels, for example, livestock. Yes, camels, you need to give zakah from them. Very good, excellent. Livestock. So that was number 1. Give me another one. Trading goods, mashallah, if you've got business. Very nice. Mashallah, Brother Ja'far. Agriculture. Very good. Excellent. Those are 3 so far. I have only 1 left. Yes, brother. Gold, silver, money. Very good. Gold, silver, monetary, the cash. Very good. Those are the 4 things. Yesterday, then, I have said to you, 2 of them really concern us. Okay. Which 2 out of these 4 are the ones that do concern us? Yeah. Very good. Excellent. The cash and also trading, business. So those are the 2 things that normally concern us. Very good. Now, yesterday we started this slide, but we haven't finished it. Okay. So imagine now you need to find out if you're going to pay zakah or not. Okay. I told you yesterday there are certain conditions that you need to fulfill in order to pay zakah. Okay. Those conditions, who can remember some of them? Who has to pay zakah? So you have to fulfill certain conditions. One of them, you need to be a Muslim. If you're not a Muslim, you don't have to pay zakah. Okay, very good. Another condition, you have to be free. You're not a slave. If you're a slave, you don't have to pay zakah. Excellent. Very nice. And someone who didn't answer yet? Okay, Ibrahim. Very good. You need to have full ownership of the wealth. Very good. Nice. Who's going to give me another one? Ismail. Very good. It has to reach a certain amount. Threshold. Very good. It has to reach a certain amount. Ibrahim, and Saeed at the back. Yes. Someone has to be. Did we include that one yesterday? Did we include the sanity? Okay, it wasn't part of the conditions. Yesterday I said you might be insane but wealthy. If you are wealthy and insane, are we gonna excuse you from the zakah or you have to pay zakah? We're gonna say to you, you need to pay zakah. Okay. What about if you are a 6-month-old baby, but you are multi-millionaire because your father recently passed away and he left, mashallah, 10 million pounds for you? Okay, what are we gonna say? We're gonna wait until he reaches 15 years old? Or we're gonna say, no, we need zakah from him. We'll say we need zakah from him. Okay, excellent. Very good. But the madhab, certain madhabs would say we have to wait until they reach the age of puberty. Okay? But what is which one is the more correct one? The correct one is that you need to give zakah, even if you are still a child, as long as you have money. Okay? We are after the money, we are not after the child, we are not after the insane person, we are after the money. Okay? Okay, the money, the masakeen, they have right to this money. So it's their money. So they need to get their part. Okay, very good. Excellent. So that's something that we've done yesterday. Now we need to work out. And then I'm going to give you the formula of how to work it out, how much you need to pay. Okay, yesterday I have told you the threshold of gold and also silver. The threshold of gold and silver. What we mean threshold is like how much money you need to have in order for you to pay zakah. Okay, the threshold of gold was how much did we say yesterday? 4,000. Okay, is it always going to be 4,000 or we have to, what? It will go, what will determine? The gram of gold. Okay, if we know how much 1 gram of gold is worth, you will times that by 85. Whatever outcome you get, that's the threshold. Very good. Yesterday's threshold and today's threshold will be quite similar. Just over 4,000. Okay. Very good. So imagine, I want you to follow these steps. I said, just remember the following numbers. 85 grams of gold or 695 grams of silver. Those two numbers should stay in your mind. Okay. Very good. Just find out how much 1 gram of each is worth. And then times that by 85 grams of gold or 695 grams of silver on the day you want to pay your zakah. And that will give you the threshold for each one. Okay, so now we have worked out so far how much is the threshold today, which is just around 4,000 pounds. Okay, then what are you going to do? Then just see if your savings are equal or above the threshold. Okay, very good. Then, this is the crucial part now. Then divide by 40. The number 40 is also a magical number. The 40 is the number that you need to also keep in your pocket. Always keep this number in your pocket. 85 grams, keep it in your pocket. 695 in your pocket. And number 40 in your pocket. What is the 40 going to give you? The 40 is going to give you the 2.5% of any value. What is significant about the 40? It gives you the 2.5% of any value that you have. If I have 1 million pound, divide by what? 40. That's how much zakah you have to give. Okay, I want you to practically do that. Write down 1 million pound in your thingy. Okay, your calculator. 1 million pounds. Imagine now you've had 1 million from last Ramadan up to this Ramadan. You have 1 million pounds. Well done. MashaAllah. Ustaz Mohamed didn't even need, mashallah, his calculator. MashaAllah. From the old school. Okay? Old school, they don't need they can do everything in their head. Okay? But the new school right now, 1 plus 1, I need to go and look for my calculator. 1 second, 1 plus 1. So I have to just double check 1 plus 1 that it equals 2. This is the new school. Okay? Very good. So right now, what did we say? 1 million, what did you divide it by? 40. Okay. Imagine I have 100,000 pounds. What am I going to divide by? 40. So whenever I divide by 40 anything, okay, it gives me 2.5% of that amount. Is that clear? Ah, very good. So, are you with me so far? Now you know how to calculate your zakah, if you know the amount that you have. Okay, imagine Brother Ghazwan has got in his account right now 13,000 pounds. MashaAllah, 13,000 pounds. He's got 13,000 pounds. How much zakat does he need to pay? I want you to work it out quickly. He's got 13,000 pounds in his account. How much do we need to take from him right now? How much? 750. So that's going to be your zakat this month. Is that correct? That's not correct. People are saying it's not correct. 13,013. That. Think about it. So 13. If you have 13, divide by, he has the 13,000 pounds in the account. Divide by 40. 325. That's the correct amount. So that means we need 325 pounds. Imagine, now you have in your account 13,000 pounds. You had it for a full year, okay? Or it doesn't matter if it was going up and down, okay? At the end of the year, you have 13,000 in your account. So what we're going to say, divide by 40. That will give you how much of that money you need to give away. The 2.5%. So it's 325. Is everyone okay so far? Are you with me so far? Very good. Can we go to the next slide? Next slide, please. Okay, very good. There should be a Mohamed, if you can get the new version. This was yesterday's version. Mohamed, if you can, I've sent you a new one. Inshallah ta'ala, if you can look at your email and get the new one, please, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, the Mohamed is going to get the new one for us, inshallah ta'ala, the new presentation, PowerPoint slides, and then he will, inshallah ta'ala, show us the next slide. So there's a slide which is missing from here. So inshallah ta'ala, the new version has it, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so the question has, did everyone understand so far? Okay, very good. Let me ask you, yes, Brother Zaid. Very good question. While we are waiting, this question is very important. We've answered partially this question, although you can complete your question. The two different nisabs, yes. Jazakallah khair. That's a very good question. Okay. Okay. قدر الله ما شاء فعل. Okay. If the Muhandis hasn't received the new one, I have to remember these things from the top of my head. Okay, so I will check my memory right now. But I'm going to answer that question first. So the first question I'm going to answer is the following. You have two different nisabs. Who's going to remind us how much was the threshold for silver? Yesterday we calculated it. It was 66p per gram. Then you times that by 695. It was over 300 pounds. So that means the threshold of silver is much lower than the threshold of gold. And yesterday, some of you asked and said, which threshold, nisab, are we supposed to use? Should we use the gold one or should we use the silver one? Yesterday, I told you, you can use, first of all, any one of them. Some of the ulama, they say, you should use the silver nisab. Why? Because this is better for the poor people. In what way? More people will be paying zakah. Okay, but the amount they will pay is going to be quite small. But it is better than actually excluding all these people. Because if we say we will wait until you get the nisab of the gold, hundreds of thousands of Muslims will never have to pay any zakah. So which one is better? That we get the zakah of hundreds of thousands of Muslims, but the amount they're going to pay is small per person, but the overall is going to be a lot of money. It will be better than all of those people not paying any zakah. But the ulama, I told you, the Majma' al-Fiqhi, okay, what do they say? The majority of them, they said, it is better to use which threshold? The gold. Because it's more stable, okay, and it's more money. Okay, so once you have, mashallah, if the threshold is that, so your 2.5% will be a lot more than the 2.5% that you have to pay for the silver. Okay, so if you use any of them, it's permissible. So if you want to pay zakah regularly and you use the silver, that's permissible. If you don't want to pay until you reach the gold and amount, you're not going to be sinful. So you can wait until you reach that gold amount as well. Okay, threshold. Yes.
If you have the gold amount.
Okay, yes. If you were aiming for the gold, but you never got to the gold one, you can pay according to the silver every single year. You can do that. Okay, so let me continue right now. So let us be a bit more practical. So the next slide was practically how to calculate your zakah. Okay, now in real life, you don't just have cash somewhere sitting down. You have to, you'll be having different types of wealth. You'll be, okay, so what we're going to do is you need to add up the following. In order to know how much wealth you have, you need to add up the following things. Write down. Add up the following, the cash that you have. So you need to add together these things, okay, to find out how much are you going to pay overall at the end. So what are you going to add up? The cash that you have. If you have gold and silver, yeah, sometimes someone might have cash, also he has gold and silver. So you add to that as well. The value of that gold and silver, you'll add to the cash you have. What else are you going to add to the cash and the gold that you have? If you have investment, yeah, you might have money and invested in business. That money is in the business. So you're going to calculate that money as well. So you're going to add it to the pot. So you have to add as well. Also, another money you're going to add is the money that people owe you. Your debts, the debts that other people owe you. For example, you lent money to somebody, £1,000, £2,000. Somebody has it for you, and they'll pay you back one day. Okay? So you will also add to that. So you're not going to say, oh, I'm just going to look at the saving account. I've only got a couple of thousand, but I'm going to forget my gold. I'm going to forget my business investment, which was £100,000. Okay? I'm not going to look at that. So I'm just going to look at the cash which is in my account. No. That's not what you're going to do. You will have to add up all of these things. 1, 2, 3. And then also the money that other people owe you. For example, some people borrowed from you like £20,000, okay, of debt. Okay, so you'll calculate all of that. When you add up all of those things, now you're going to say, this is what I am worth. I'm worth actually £70,000, not the 3,000 which is sitting in the account. Now you're going to pay your zakah based upon the 70,000 that you have in total. Does that make sense? This is how you practically need to. But before you do that, you need to take certain things away. Before you give the zakah of the £70,000, there are certain things you need to take away. Among them is your imminent debt. You might have debt. You might owe other people some money. So if that money is imminent, that you have to pay soon, you will deduct that. Okay, you're going to say, oh, 5,000 is going to be due next month. So that 5,000, I'm going to put it to the side. Okay, I'm not going to include the zakah, so I'm going to take it away. For example, you recently graduated from the university. You have to pay your student loan bit by bit. So every month you're paying a certain amount. So you're going to take that, you deduct from that as well. You're going to say, okay, I need to deduct that money because I have to give that money back as well. So you're not going to say, oh, I am going to deduct the whole £30,000. No. It's what you owe for that year. Do you know that particular year? Okay? So what you're going to pay within the next 12 months before the next term comes, that's what you need to deduct. For example, your council tax, that's even that you have to pay right now, you'll put it to the side. So what the bills that you have to pay. So all those things you will deduct from the overall amount, and then whatever you've got left after that, that's what you're going to pay the zakah from. That was mouthful, wasn't it? It was a bit mouthful. Did you get it? So imagine, we will use Brother Ghazwan as an example again. Okay, Brother Ghazwan, alhamdulillah, this is the month that he has to pay his zakah. So he's going to find out, okay, let me see how much wealth I have in cash, in terms of gold and silver, and in terms of money that people owe me. Okay, I'm going to look at it. And then also he's going to take into consideration what he owes other people. The wealth that he has right now, his salary has just come into his account. It doesn't mean that he will say, oh, I'm going to add the whole salary into it. No, he will look at how much of that salary he will need to use for that month. For example, his gas bills, this he knows like £200 is gas, £40 is for the water, electricity is £300. So what he will calculate all of that and say, I will deduce all of that. So whatever I have left after that, I will add it. Okay, so that's how he's going to calculate his zakah, the final overall. Okay, if he had his business, if he had investment in a business, he will look at how much investment he put into that business and so forth. So he will look at all of that. Okay, is that clear so far? MashaAllah. Very good. Now I am going to give you, the next slide was about scenarios, cases. You have to use the knowledge I taught you yesterday and the knowledge you have learned right now. Okay? Put together, I want you to tell me what happens in this scenario. A brother called Ahmed was given, pay attention very carefully, yes? I'm trying to trick you. I'm telling you already. I'm going to trick you. Do not fall into the trap. Okay? I want you to be very careful. Use all your brain cells. Okay? And the energy that you have. Okay? I'm going to trick you. But I know you are very clever. I cannot trick you. Okay? A brother called Ahmed was given a gift of £5,000. He was given a gift of £5,000. The time he was given this £5,000 was Dhul Hijjah, the month of Dhul Hijjah last year, 1443. Which year are we in right now? 1444. So in the month of Dhul Hijjah last year, he was given £5,000 cash. He put it into his saving account, and that's the money he's got, nothing else. He doesn't have any businesses, he doesn't have anything else. That's the only stuff that he's got, £5,000. Now, in this month, the month of Ramadan, right now, how much zakat does he need to pay? I want you, don't rush, think. If you know it, raise your hand, and I will ask you to explain. If you give me an answer, if you say to me he has to pay zakah, I will say to you why. If you say to me he doesn't have to pay zakah, I will say to you why. Okay, so you have to use the knowledge you have gained from yesterday. Okay, so just raise your hand if you think, because I'm going to come after you. Because otherwise it's 50-50. Okay, so if you say that he has to pay something, I will say to you why. If you say to me he doesn't have to pay anything, I will say to you why. Okay, think about it. He was given how much? £5,000. When was it? When was it given to him? Dhul Hijjah. Last year, 1443. Now, this month, Ramadan, I am asking him to pay zakah. Does he need to pay zakah or not? If you say to me, yes, I want explanation. If you say to me, no, I want explanation. Okay, 1 second. Yes, brother, I'm going to give it to you, yeah. Very good. Okay. Do you agree with the brother? No. Oh, there are many brothers who don't agree with you. Okay. The brothers don't agree with you. Okay. I want a brother who doesn't agree with him. You don't agree with him, yes? Okay. Explain to us why.
This is the month of Ramadan.
Okay.
Not in the 1 year.
Okay. Okay. So you are saying he doesn't have to pay zakah yet. When does it? So this month is Ramadan, he doesn't have to pay. Dhul Hijjah. Oh, so we haven't reached Dhul Hijjah yet. We are in Ramadan. So what we've got left? Shawwal and Dhul Qa'dah. And then Dhul Hijjah will come. So there's no zakah on his money yet. Yes, because he's got 5,000, but he doesn't have to pay. MashaAllah. I'm very proud of you. So Alhamdulillah. So far right now, it's worthwhile learning this, isn't it? So right now, you know, this brother doesn't have to pay zakah. Okay, another one right now. If I can remember the scenario I set up for you. So, a brother called Ali. Okay? He was given £3,000 as a gift. Ramadan last year, he was given £3,000 as a gift. He holds on to those £3,000. Now we are in the month of Ramadan. How much zakat does he need to pay? If you know the answer, okay, yes, brother at the back. Why not?
Because the money doesn't reach.
Allahu Akbar. Do you agree with him? Yes. Okay, but he had it for a whole year. What is missing? What condition is missing? The threshold. So these two things are very important. Threshold and the whole year. The threshold, yes, the amount has to be there. And very good. So he doesn't have to pay any zakah based on the gold threshold. Based on the gold. What about if he's using the silver? He needs to pay? He needs to pay. He can now. Okay, very good. But we are going by the gold. Very good. The last one. Can I remember the last one? This is a good question. Can I remember the last scenario which I set up for you? Okay, the last scenario is this. You have in your account £7,000. You have in your account £7,000. You've had this amount since last Ramadan up to now. How much zakah do you need to pay? You have £7,000 from last Ramadan up to this year. Right now, this Ramadan. Ibrahim, does he have to pay zakah or not, first of all? He has to pay. Okay, what is the reason? Why does he need to pay zakah? He's above the threshold and he had it for a whole year. How much does he actually have to pay physically? £175. He had 7,000, you divide by 40. And then £175. Is everyone with me? MashaAllah, Alhamdulillah. Is it okay so far, the pace that we are going at and the explanation? Does it make sense? Okay, mashallah. From next year, you can calculate people's zakats. You can say to your family, sit down, guys, tell me your money. I'm going to calculate for you if you have to pay anything or not. Very good. So right now, we are going to this slide. Zakah for 21st century businesses, for example. What we need to do is the following right now. Imagine one of the following businesses. You own a corner shop. If you own a corner shop, how are you going to pay zakah for the corner shop? Do you have to pay zakah for the corner shop? If you have to pay zakah for the corner shop, how are you going to calculate the zakah that you have to pay for the corner shop? Yes, Brother Mohamed.
You calculate how much stock is worth you've got.
Okay.
You make the calculation based on that.
Okay, very good. MashaAllah.
You make the calculation net profit.
Very good. MashaAllah. Nice. Very good. You are becoming fuqaha right now. Alhamdulillah. You can answer these questions. Very good. So now you have a corner shop. Like Brother Muhammad Aziz has mentioned, you will look at the stock that you have. Imagine you've started this business last year, the corner shop. The corner shop that you've actually started last year, for you to set up that corner shop and to put some stock in, you've invested in the corner shop last year when you were starting, 3,500. Remember, yeah, I want you to pay attention to this. Last year, I am going to tell you something which is very important. The difference between the cash and the trading goods. Okay. When do you start the year from? If you have got cash, when do you start the year from? The moment the first cash comes to your hand, or the moment the cash reaches the threshold? When do you start the year? From when? When the money reaches the threshold. Very good. What about the money that you started the business with? Are we going to look at if the money that you invested in was actually at a threshold or was it lower? Are we going to pay attention to the threshold when you are starting a business? We are not going to look at the threshold. What we are going to look at is how much your business is worth after 1 year. Not how much it was worth when it was set up. I can set up a business this month for £200. But this time next year, Ramadan, when you look at my business, it might be worth £10,000. So what am I going to do right now? Am I going to say, oh, no, I'm going to pay, I don't have to pay zakah because last year when I started, I was under the threshold. Am I going to say that? No. It doesn't matter how much money you started. Imagine I've started a business with £100,000 last Ramadan. This Ramadan, you evaluated my business, and my business is actually worth £3,000. Do I have to pay any zakah? I've started with 100,000 last year. I made so much loss. So now my business is only worth 3,000. Do I have to pay any zakah for my business? Why? Because the money has gone under the threshold. My business has gone busted. Totally busted. Khalas. 3,000 I've got. After I've invested 100,000 last year. I don't have to pay zakah. MashaAllah. Can you see the beauty of our sharia? Our sharia is so amazing, so delicate, so mashallah fair and just. Okay? So when it comes to a business, yes. Mashallah, yes. If you're going by the silver, we still has to pay because 3,000 is still the amount, mashallah. But if you're using gold, he doesn't have to pay. Okay. Corner shop, what did we say? What about, are you going to evaluate, for example, the lightings, like let's say the shelves, the fridges that you have in the corner shop? Are you going to look at their value and also add to the money, or that will not count? That will not count. Only the stocks that you are selling. Okay, people are going to take home. Okay, that's what you're going to count. But everything else, all the decorations, all the things that you have in the shop, you're not going to calculate that. If you own a restaurant, are you going to calculate like how much the chairs and the tables and the candles and those things cost? No. Okay, you will look at how much money you make from the food that you are selling and so forth, and then that's what you're going to calculate. Yeah.
If, for example, the goods have gone up in value,
yeah.
So you have to update.
Very good question. Okay, are you going to use the value that you spent when you were buying the goods, or the value that they are worth at the time that you're about to pay your zakah? Very good question. Remember, one more time, I'll repeat it. What value are we going to use for the stock? Are we going to use the money that we've spent when we were buying it in bulk, or the money that they are worth at the time when you're giving your zakah? The money that you are going to sell them for. That's the price. You're not going to say, oh, these goods, like I bought them for 20p, so I'm gonna times it by 20 pence, all of them. No, but now you are selling it for £1.50. So you have to times it by £1.50. Yeah, you have to times by £1.50 per item. Yeah, per item. Okay, you're not gonna say, oh, they cost me 40 pence when I was buying them, so I'm gonna use that amount. No, what you're gonna use, the 150 and £1.50 that you are selling them for now. Yeah, keep your prices low if you don't want to pay too much zakah. Okay, mashallah, mashallah, very nice. Are you with me so far? Alhamdulillah. So now you know how to also. What about rental properties? Rental properties. What are we going to do about the rental property? How are we going to pay our zakah? Yeah. 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 Okay. What about the property itself? Am I going to evaluate it how much it is? No. Well done. MashaAllah. Yes. If I own flats in Manchester and I'm renting them out, I am going to look at the money I'm making it from. If I save up that money and the whole year gone past, then I'm gonna, okay, imagine I owned flats, I'm making money from those flats. I have gold and silver. I've got them. I've got my salary. So all of that, I'm gonna add them together at the end of the year and just give out one zakah. Okay, and pay one zakah for all the wealth that I have. Very good. The next slide, please. Okay. How do you pay your zakah on shares and online businesses, for example? Okay, the same thing right now. You just follow the same steps. Imagine right now, you've got shares can be divided into two types. Okay? Dividend-based stocks or shares. Okay? So you are only making money from them. Okay? You're not selling them. You are making money from them. So they will become like what? The property that you were renting? So that's how. So whatever money you make from it, and if you save up that money, that's when you pay zakah from that money. What about if you are actually selling the stocks and the shares? You get them, you sell them. You get them, you sell them. That time you're going to treat them like what? Like the corner shop stocks. So you just calculate it at the end of the year. Imagine you put £100,000 into shares right now. After 1 year, you look at your portfolio. What they're worth, how much you've been selling, buying, selling. So at that, now you are worth 2 million. When you started, you 100,000. Now you are 2 million. So the zakah of 2 million, that's what you're going to pay. MashaAllah. Beautiful. Cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency is similar. Cryptocurrency, what you're going to look at. Some people, they they actually involved in cryptocurrency, for example, bitcoins and things like that. How do they, what, they buy them as items and then sell them straight away. As soon as the price goes up, they buy, sell daily, on daily basis, for example. That person, he has to continually pay. At the end of the year, he will have to pay zakah for the cryptocurrency. But if he bought it and just put it somewhere, okay, and he doesn't want to sell it, he just wants to keep it as a value, okay, he doesn't have to pay zakah. Okay, but one day if he sells it and he takes money for that, we will look at how long he's going to hold this money. If he holds on to that money for a whole year, then that time he's going to pay the zakah. Or if it coincides with the time of his zakah, so this money he got from the selling the cryptocurrency, for example, and all the other types of money that he had, he will add it, and then he will give it as one zakah. Okay, yes, brother Ahmed. Very good. If you own land, yes. If you own land, for example, imagine someone owns a land. Imagine someone owns a land, a piece of land. We will look at and we're going to say, why did you buy the land for? If you say, I bought it for business reasons, so that means I'm going to put it on the market straight away. I bought it now, it's on the market. If somebody comes and buy it next month, so that now is a business. Okay, so you will have to pay zakah for it when you get the money. But if you keep that money for how long? Imagine the land stays with you like for 3 years. You couldn't sell it. So the whole year has gone past and your land is still there. No one has bought it yet. What are we going to look at? The value that you bought the land for 1 year ago, or the value it is today? Today, when you are paying the zakat, the value it is. Imagine you bought a piece of land that was worth £10,000 last year. Now, when you try to, if you want to sell it, the price is 30,000. So you pay zakah for £30,000. You still haven't sold the land, but it's still in the market because you're still waiting for the right amount. Okay? But if you bought a piece of land as a way of holding your cash and your wealth inside that asset, and you don't have the intention to sell it now, it's not going to be zakatable. When will it become zakatable? The day you change your mind and sell it. That's when it becomes zakatable. Okay? So it's like somebody might actually buy 10 houses in Manchester, and he wants just to put his cash in there because otherwise the money is just going to lose value. So he invests in houses, and then he keeps those houses. He's not selling them, he's not renting them, it's there. They're just sitting there for him. So one day, if the prices are right, he will sell it. Okay, but if he puts them in the market from the beginning and he says, these 10 houses are for sale, anybody who gives me the right amount, I'm gonna sell it. So that time you're gonna deal with it like a corner shop items. Yeah.
So in that example,
Yeah.
if you're just
Yeah.
it's not on the market.
Yeah.
But you're just waiting.
One day.
One day I'll wake up and
Yeah.
the price is right.
Yeah.
I'll
Sell it. Yeah. So that's after you sell it. That's when it becomes zakatable. Okay.
Just a question.
Yeah.
You know when we talked about gold yesterday,
Yeah. Yeah.
if a man, for example, owns gold because
Yes. Go. Yeah.
it's an asset,
Yeah.
so is it the same as land as well? Or
Very good question. Imagine a man, instead of buying gold, instead of buying land, he actually bought gold as an asset. What are we going to say? Something that I said yesterday, if you can remember it correctly, you will get it right. Okay, what is your view, Sheikh? If it's okay, he's not using it for adornment. He just bought it as to keep his wealth. Yes, just like the piece of land. Who's gonna yes?
Specific particular irrespective of
MashaAllah. Some items, some types of wealth, they're intrinsically zakatable in and of themselves. Gold is one of them. Silver is one of them. If you own gold, silver, they're zakatable as they are. But if I own 100 cars, are they zakatable as they are? No. They will only become zakatable when I change my intention. And then I start. The land, the same thing. Okay. What about if I buy 100 camels? Are they zakatable or not? Automatically they will become zakatable. All I have to wait right now is the year. Now you put money into camels, 100 camels. You will wait. When will you pay the zakah? After 1 year. MashaAllah. Wow. Yes. Yes, brother. Go.
For example, if I bought a gold for my wife
Yeah.
and she had it for 1 year,
Yeah.
it's more than 85.
Grams. Very good question. MashaAllah. Yesterday, what did we say? The majority of the ulama, they say the gold that the woman has for adorning herself, she doesn't have to pay any zakah for that gold. Even if it is like 500 grams, 700 grams, 1,000, 1 kilogram, it doesn't matter however much it is. But Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala, what did he say? You pay zakah, even if you're using for adornment. And yesterday, what did I say? It is safer. It is safer to pay zakah for it. It's safer to pay zakah for it. Okay? But if somebody says, I am not going to pay zakah because I am going to take the statement or the view of the majority of the ulama, no one can blame them and say you are sinful. Okay? But it's safer. Okay, yes, Brother Ismail.
So if you hold, we spoke about,
Yeah.
and you intend to maybe pay,
Yeah.
you intend to sell it.
Yeah.
Let's say your liquid.
Okay. Okay. If I understood your question correctly, is this. Imagine I bought, let's say, gold or let's say a piece of land. Okay, for example, yes. And the year has gone past. Okay. Did you have the intention to sell it from the beginning, or you wanted to withhold the money?
So it's just that the cash.
The zakah on the land, for example. Yes, you want to sell this land, but the money, the cash, the liquidity that you have, and the land that you have, the zakat that you have to pay, they don't match. You have less money. What you're going to do, where are you going to get the money from? Very good. Yes, if you have other type of wealth, for example, other type of, let's say, assets that you are able to sell easily and make cash from it, get that cash and pay the zakah with it. Or some of the ulama, they say, no, you don't have to burden yourself and run around and try and get cash. Wait until you sell the property, this particular piece of land, and then when you get the cash, pay it from it. So you can wait both of them. Okay. Yes, brother?
If we have the gold money, but it is under the
Yeah. Okay. If it is under the 85 grams, you don't have to pay any. Okay. Next one, please. Inshallah ta'ala, next slide. MashaAllah, the next slide. Yes. Mohamed, next slide, please. MashaAllah. Now about the recipient. Very important. Now you have your money. You have isolated the 2.5%. Who should you give it to? Are you just going to come to me and say, yeah, Imam, mashallah, I like you, man. So I want to give you my zakah money. Okay, you deserve it, you know. Okay, get my zakah money. No. Who are the people that will be qualifying for your zakah wealth? Okay, your zakah money. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned them in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned them in the Quran. 8 categories of people. The first group, they are the poor people. The second group, they are the needy people. You might say, what is the difference between someone who's poor and someone who's needy? They're both poor. Okay? The poor is needy. The needy is poor. So they're exactly the same people. But why did Allah differentiate them? إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. What's the difference between faqir and miskin? The ulama, they looked into these two words. What they mean. Some of them, this is what they have said. They said, the faqir's situation is worse than the miskin. The faqir is in a state which is a bit more difficult than the state the miskin is in. Some of the ulama, they said the other way around. Okay? Meaning that the miskin is in a worse situation than the faqir. Okay, so let's say we're going to take the first view. The first view, which is what? The faqir is in a worse situation than the miskin. Okay, I'll give you a practical example. Imagine I need to survive £10 a month. I need to survive £10 a month. In order to survive for me this month, I need £10. But I can only make £2. How much am I missing? £8. Okay, that's the faqir. If I am miskeen, I need £10, but I can make £7. How much do I need? Only £3. That's the difference. So the faqir is the one who gets a lot less than what he needs. And the miskeen is the one who can get the majority of what he needs, but he is missing something. Do you get the difference between the miskeen and the faqir? So the faqir, he wants £10 to survive this month, but he can only get £2 or £3. So he's missing £7. Subhanallah. The other one, the miskeen, he needs £10, but he can make £7. He's only missing 3. So that's the difference. Then the third category, those who collect the money, the zakah. Okay, what do we mean by this? Those who collect the money. If we have an Islamic state, Islamic government, they will employ certain people to go and collect this zakah money from the people. Those people, they will get payment from where? From the zakah. I want to tell you something very important here. Imagine you are a wealthy person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you a lot of money. You are very wealthy. You employ certain people to do your zakah collection or to calculate and work out how much zakah you have to pay every year. That person, the salary that you need to pay him, are you going to pay him from the zakah money or are you going to pay him from your own pocket? If the government employed him, where will he get the money from? The zakah itself. If I have employed this person because I'm too wealthy, I employed someone to work out my zakah and then also to distribute it later on. That person, when I'm paying him, am I going to pay from the zakat that he collected or from my own money? From my own money, because this is private now. But if he's working for the government, the Islamic government that asked the person to go and collect the zakah for the government, now that the government is going to pay him from the zakah money. What does this mean? This is a very delicate point. Very delicate point here. Okay? So that means if someone is working, do you know the people who work for charity organizations? Where are they going to get paid from? This mas'ala is resting on this point. You're the fuqaha, inshallah, of the future. Work it out. Okay, I'm going to leave. This is a headache for you guys. Okay, I'm going to leave it. So if you're working for a charity organization that collects zakah money and distributes the zakah money, those people who are working for them, where are they going to pay them from? Are they going to pay them from the zakat they've collected, part of it? Or will the organization have to go and get money from somewhere else to pay their workers? Are we going to consider the organization like a government, or are we going to consider them as a private entity? Allah. I'll leave that to you guys. Okay. MashaAllah. We'll move on. Okay, MashaAllah. Those whose hearts are to be reconciled. وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةِ قُلُوبِهِمْ. What this means here is, if someone has just recently accepted Islam, a new Muslim should be given from the zakah, wealth from the zakah. Or someone who's an influencer, a big influencer, okay? Someone who's a non-Muslim, but he's a big influencer. These days, it will be the influencer. In the past, the tribal leaders, they used to be given money. The Prophet ﷺ, his time, the tribal leaders, they used to be given a lot of money because they had so much influence. They could turn the whole tribe they could actually turn them into Islam. And they could say, guys, we will enter Islam. We are going to be with the Prophet ﷺ. The whole tribe will follow the leader. So the Prophet ﷺ, what did he used to do? The mu'allafat qulubuhum, he would pay them and take care of them. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he guides them, what will happen? The whole tribe Allah will guide through that leader. Okay? So those are the mu'allafat qulub. So our modern times, who will be considered these people? The celebrities, like big people. They might be given some of the zakah wealth in order to attract, or someone who's a new Muslim, someone who has just become a Muslim, so we will give them the zakah money so they can support themselves. MashaAllah. Mu'allafat qulubuhum. Number 5, to free the captives. Okay, someone who was a slave. Okay, now he wants to buy his freedom. So if he comes to Bayt al-Mal and he says, I want to buy my freedom from my master, so I need support from the Bayt al-Mal, we will give him from the zakah money. Okay, وفي الرقاب. Okay, another group, the debtors. Those people who are in debt. If you are in debt, you are what? You will be given from the zakah. If you are in debt. But the people who will be taking care of the zakah, they will do their due diligence. They will look at why are you in debt. They will look at, if you are in debt because you were buying so much whiskey and you were drinking, okay, or drugs, that's why you are in debt. They're not going to pay for your debt. If the gangsters are after you and say to you, we need our money, okay, and you come and rush to the Zakah Bayt al-Mal and say, we'll say, why are you in debt? I'm indebted to the drug dealers. I'll say, okay, we're not going to give you from the Zakah money. Okay, we're not going to give you, because the reason you are in debt right now is not the right reason. Okay, but if you are in debt because of good reasons, we will help you. We will help you from it. So mashallah, this is the deep stuff that the fuqaha talk about. Go deep into it. Okay, so after that, people in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are who volunteered to perform jihad and so forth. So these are the people. Okay, وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Volunteers, they came here, as you can see here, volunteers, mashallah. They will get from, mashallah, if they're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and helping out. The last one are the wayfarers, someone who's traveling. Okay, a traveler. Even if I'm rich, in my own home, if I was rich in the past, sometimes someone was rich in his home land, but when he traveled, he ran out of his money, for example. Or there were bandits, like, let's say people and he was attacked by crazy people, gangsters, and they took his wealth. Now he became poor. So while he's here, he's poor. So he can go to the Bayt al-Mal, look at the beauty of Islam, and say, I need money from the zakah. He was going to be given money from the zakah wealth. But he's rich. Yes, he's rich in his homeland, but he's not rich man right now. He's a traveler. Yes. Can you be given from the zakah money even though you are rich? If I am rich, can I still get zakah money? I will tell you. Common sense will say to you, no. But today I will tell you, I can be rich and I can get zakah money. How? That's the question. How? Imagine how. Can someone think of how I might become like that? I might be rich, but at the same time, I am actually going to get money from the zakah. What are the ways I can make it? Yes?
If you're a wayfarer.
Very good. That's one way. If you're a wayfarer and you don't have access to your money. Okay, excellent. Another way I can. Very good. If someone is I'm rich, but I've been given a job to collect the zakah for the government. So the government can pay me that money. Okay. The debtors, wal gharimin. The debtors include what? Gharim is someone who's rich. Imagine two tribes had a fight. They had a war. They're killing each other. But I am also someone who's another tribal leader, very respectful guy. People respect me. I come and I became the peacemaker. I became what? The peacemaker between these two tribes. And then I said to them, part of the deal was, I am going to pay for the money. I'm going to pay for everybody you lost in the battle. I am going to pay the blood money. I am going to pay the blood money for the 10 people you lost. I'm going to pay the blood money for the 10 people you've lost in the battle. Now, there's peace. How much money do I owe right now? 20 people's blood money. I am wealthy myself. What can I do right now? I can go to the Bayt al-Mal of the Muslimin and say, guys, I stopped this war that was happening between these two tribes. I have incurred a debt of what? The blood of 20 people. I need money from the zakah. Now what they're going to do, yes, they're going to give me the money. They're going to give me the money. Why do you think Islam would do this, something like this? What would happen if I don't get money from the zakah wealth, the wealth of the zakah? What will happen? You will not have people who will come forward to make peace between the Muslims. Yes. If everybody said to them like, that was your problem, it wasn't our problem, people will stop becoming peacemakers. Can you see the beauty of Islam? It's amazing. This religion, you need to study it in order to love it. If you want to love Islam more and more, you need to study it more. If you don't study it more, especially if you don't study fiqh, you're not going to see the beauty of it. MashaAllah. This is the beauty of fiqh. When you study fiqh, MashaAllah, you can see the beauty of, MashaAllah, the deen. And the work that the fuqaha have done. Yes?
Sheikh, in modern times now, for example, we have a wealthy person who's got
Yeah.
or he's got a credit card.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. Nowadays, if you have, that's a good question. If you have credit card, if you've got your bank card or something like that, as long as you can get access to your wealth, you will not be entitled. But in those days, people didn't used to get easily access to their wealth because they lived in a different country and they have been walking for a whole month to get to this other place. Okay, so it would have been very difficult. Yes, Haji Ahmed. Workers.
As you understand, some people are called.
Okay. Okay, you mean like your overall salary for the end of the year, or what is on paper? On paper, your job gives you £40,000 a year. That's what you are entitled to. But in reality, the cash that comes to you will be less than that. Okay, so how are you going to pay zakah from your salary? This is a very good question. How do you pay zakah from your salary? Okay, imagine I make £2,000 every month from my salary after the tax and everything. If I use the whole £2,000 by the end of the month, at the end of the year, do I have to pay any zakah? No, unless I have other types of wealth, income. Okay, so right now, at the end of the year, even though I actually consumed £40,000 or almost £35,000 of cash came through my account, but I used all of it. Will I have to pay any zakah for that? No. But if, Hajj Ahmed, like you said, the money that I made from my salary, if I save some of it, when it reaches the threshold, my savings, I will start counting the year. And then after that, after 1 year, I will pay zakah only for that amount and not the rest. I will have to stop here. I know it's iftar, you're getting ready, inshallah ta'ala. I hope that was beneficial for you guys. Alhamdulillah. So one important point I want to make here is, can we give zakah money to an entity, to a masjid, for example? Zakah money, the zakah of wealth. Can we give it to them? Yes. Based on here. Based on the people who are the recipients. Can you give your money to the masjid for the expansion? The masjid is expanding. Okay, your zakah, is the masjid poor?
No.
Is the masjid needy?
Yes.
Is the masjid a person?
No.
Okay, if the masjid is not a person, will the masjid be entitled to your zakah for the expansion?
No.
Yeah. So this is the only place some of the ulama, they try and wafi sabilillah. Okay, they try and push it there, over there. Okay, but now, for example, zakah, the money of the zakah should be given to the individuals, the needy people, the poor people. They should be given. The person who's in debt, those people directly, they should be given to them. Okay, not the entity. But if you give your zakah to an entity, for example, a charity organization, but you need to know if they are going to give it to the individuals, to the poor individuals. If they say we are going to give it to the poor individual, you can give it. If they say no, we're going to build it with a well or a house for orphans, you can say that's not. I'm going to give you normal sadaqah, but not my zakah. Not my zakah. Zakah has to be given to the poor people. Okay, so that's where I'm going to stop, inshallah ta'ala.
Quick last question.
Okay.
You know, if your parents, for example,
Very good.
very poor and you
Very good.
mention another concept,
MashaAllah, very good question. Very good question. Can you give your zakah money to your parents? Okay. Two groups of people, you cannot give them your zakah. Okay. You cannot give zakah to those, you cannot give zakah to your ancestors and also your progenies. That means you can't give zakat to your mother, to your father, to your grandparents. Why? Because it is your duty to actually feed them. It's your duty to feed them if they are in need. What about what about your children? Your children, the same thing. Your progeny, okay? You need to give them You can't give them your zakah money. Your child, your grandchild, even if your great-great-grandchild is alive and he needs your support, you need to feed him. You can't give him from your zakah money. You have to, it's obligatory upon you to feed him if you are able to do that. But what about your aunts, your uncles, your own brothers, your blood brothers, or your sisters? If they are in need, if they fall under this category, needy and poor, you can give them your zakah money. I'll give you one trick. I'll give you one advice. Imagine next year, this time, you know you will have to pay, let's say, you'll have to pay around £1,500 worth of zakah. Back home, you have a relative, a cousin or a brother or a sister who's in need. They need to be given monthly amount. What can you do? You can actually send your zakah money in installment. So instead of giving them the whole £1,500 at once, because you think if you give them the whole amount at once, they might misuse the money, what you're going to do, monthly you will send them about £100. So every month. Okay, so you can actually break it down like that. If you can work out and estimate what your zakah money is going to be by next year, this Ramadan. Next Ramadan, how much is it going to be? So all of this year, you can actually give your zakah that you will have to pay by next year and send it to your relative that needs it. MashaAllah. Beauty of Islam. Okay, I'm just giving you snippets. Okay, and I want you to study it. That's the point. Yes, brother.
Do you have to tell the person that this is zakah?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to tell them. Yes.
Also, another question: can you pay zakah?
For example. Okay. When will someone be obliged to pay zakah? If they have ownership of wealth. If I don't own money, you will not have to pay zakah on my behalf because I don't have that money. Okay? If I have certain amount of wealth or certain amount of money, that's when you will pay zakah, and I will have to pay zakah that time from my own wealth.
Also just a quick question.
Yeah.
Let's say you have cash,
Yeah.
you have gold.
Yeah.
How do you calculate nisab?
The whole amount. Very good question. Imagine you have £1,000 in cash, and you have, let's say you have 85 grams of gold, or less than that. You will add them together. So you'll actually liquidate the gold, and you say I have 70 grams of gold, times it by whatever the amount of the money is for the gram, and then you will add your £1,000 that you had as cash, put them together because they are from the same type of wealth. The gold and the cash, they're exactly the same. If they reach the threshold, that's when you pay your zakah.
You don't do that for livestock.
Livestock, no, you don't have the livestock. Livestock is separate. Okay. Barakallah feekum. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How was that for you guys? MashaAllah. Hayakumullah.